Hello everyone, it's Christine from Christine's Stamping Spot. Welcome back for another Mystery Monday project. We're going to continue using some new product from our new January to June, or January to July, January to June mini catalog. And the suite we're going to focus on today is the Heart and Home suite, and in particular this Honeybee Home stamp set and dies. So I just quickly wanted to show you what is in the suite and the stamp set. So you've got some really cute images here with the bees and some nice sentiments with great fonts. And then on the inside, these are some of the dies. So very cute set. And the actual suite you can find on page 58 of the new mini, the Heart and Home suite. And these are some of the components to it. So it is kind of a large suite, and we are going to use pieces of this. In particular, we're going to use the Hive embossing folder, which looks like this. So this is the packaging, and this is the actual embossing folder. So it's kind of like honeycombs all close together. So we're going to use that. And this fabulous designer paper, which I just love. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like quickly. So it's 12 by 12. You get 12 sheets, 2 of each design. So on the one side, you've got these really nice nature patterns. So this is with the bees. And then you have some nice florals here, some more florals in the fresh freesia, and some other medallion type prints in, I believe, Misty Moonlight, and then some more larger florals, which are really pretty, and then some greenery here. And on the back, what is super cool is it's all wood grain. So you've got like some planks and different wood grain patterns, which are fabulous for any sort of nature cards, masculine cards. I just love this, and it makes for a really, really subtle background on a lot of cards. So I love that the back of this, every single page has this sort of wood grain motif on the back. So really, really neat paper. And yeah, just sort of the color palette in there. If you're ever wondering, I think I've mentioned before, look on the back of your package of DSP. It'll tell you all of the colors that are somewhere in the pages. So this one has basic gray, cinnamon cider, fresh freesia, garden green, misty moonlight, pale papaya, and white. So this is a great jumping off point when you're trying to decide, well, what other cardstock colors can I use to coordinate with this DSP? Just pull out any of these colors and you are good to go. So that's always a great resource right there. Okay, and what else might we be using? Yeah, I guess just the stamp set. So I'll clarify this more as we go. And our card today is a really, really cool idea that I saw. I attended an event on Saturday, and one of our sort of more senior team leaders presented, and Cindy Piggott is her name, and she presented this really, really neat fold. I don't know if it's like a flap card. I don't know if there was a particular name for it, and she had discovered it on someone else's website, but did share it with us, and sort of challenged us all to try to, make something with this particular format. So this is what it looks like. It has a belly band around it. And then you open the flaps, and then you open the front, and then this is where you would write your greeting. Or if you had a longer greeting, you could always put an extra piece up here and then write. This sort of reminded me of what like an invitation might look like, or even just a card for somebody really special, or it could make a really neat Christmas card too. So I loved all these different flaps and things, and then how it just closed with the belly band. So I'm going to show you how we're going to put this together. And I just learned this, so bear with me. Okay, so the color palette I'm using, I have pre-cut things. So we have as our base, Misty Moonlight, and it's just a single piece. It's not folded, it's just a single piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4, okay? And then we have another piece of Misty Moonlight, and this was cut at 10.5 by 4, so 10.5 by 4, and I scored it at 5 1/4. So when you fold this, this is what's going to sort of make our flap on the inside, okay? And then this ultimately will be attached onto this base. Okay, so let's maybe just attach some of our flaps and all of that, and then we can put it there, and then we can decorate with our bees, and I'll show you a little tip for doing those. Okay, so first of all, this is my insert, just a piece of basic white for your greeting, and it's cut at 5 by 4. So I did just want to put a little one of the floral images inside, just to decorate. A lot of people say the insides of the cards should be almost as beautiful as the outside. So there are some really cute images. You could use some of the bees or some of the smaller florals or the sprigs. So I'm going to use this larger floral, which reminds me of a morning glory. So I hope I'm right in that. All of our green thumbs out there can just confirm that for me in the comments if you like. So I'm just going to ink that up with our Misty Moonlight. And then I will just, you don't have to do the whole image, you could even just do part of it. So I will do maybe just part of it right here, okay? And that will be the inside for the inside of the cards. So let's attach that, and we'll work our way, I guess, sort of from the inside out. So we're gonna put this here as our insert. And then, like I said, if you wanted to add one on the top, you could do that too. Okay, so on the front, what I did, this is where our hive embossing folder comes in. So I pulled some of the pale papaya out of the DSP for this. Now, you can see here on the sample, this is where it went, here on the front. Now, I know Cindy, when she did her card, she used some metallic sort of designer papers and different ones, plain ones too, but she had a DSP on the inside as well. But I thought, you know, this bee designer paper here was kind of busy. And so I thought to put another sort of busy pattern on the inside was just a little bit too much. So I thought, well, what could we do? So I know the hive is part of this suite, so I pulled out the papaya. There is some pale papaya in this bee paper, so I pulled out that color and ran it through that hive embossing folder. And that just gives it a little bit of grounding for me. So it's not just so, like I say, busy. So let's attach this on the front, and then we can attach our flaps. Okay, so the flaps, what I've got is 2 pieces of that designer paper, the bee paper, and these are cut just shy of 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then what I've done is you score it on the diagonal. Either way, as long as just one side is scored. Okay, so then you're going to just fold on these score lines, and this is what is going to make your flaps. So the way it's going to work is it's going to attach this way. Now, I suggested a little bit less of 3 3/4 because you don't want a lot to be hanging over the edge or here on the top. So, and you can decide which way you want it to show. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put adhesive just on this back piece to adhere to the back of this cardstock. You're not going to put any on this side for the right side of the flap. Okay, so let's just put some of this here. And when you put this on, just another trick, you have your crease line from your score line, right? So when you put this on top, you want to line the point at this score line and the bottom point to the bottom of your card. But you don't want to put your base right up against this score line because you want to have a little bit of flexibility for this flap to move and to lie flat. So you're just going to kind of eyeball it on that score line and just a little bit to the left of that score line, just so you have just a tiny bit of room so this will flap over and it's not sort of struggling to close, right? Okay, so we're going to do the same on the left side. So again, you can decide, you know, which side you want to show, whichever. So we're going to put adhesive just on this flap. And again, you're going to try to line up just this time to the right of that score line. And now this is a little bit dark to see, so let's see if I can hold it up a little bit. So just kind of, probably that, whoops, that's maybe not close enough. Hang on. Let's try that again. You could use liquid glue here too, and that would give you a little bit of wiggle room when you're putting this down. This is the trickiest part of this card, getting these flaps on where you would like them to be. So just take your time. And of course, whenever you do a video, that is when you have a couple of minor little things happening, right? Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. I'll just put that down and close that flap. So now you've got some really good flaps that move with pretty good ease. Okay, so now what we can do is we can attach this to our base piece. Now you could use tear and tape if you wanted. I'm just going to stick with our snail today. But if you were worried about it separating, you could definitely just use your tear and tape, and that would give it a good hold, or your liquid glue as well. And just try to center that on that base, okay? So there's the base of our card. Now we have to do our belly band and our little greeting. So for the belly band, I have cut some Misty Moonlight again, and that is 10 inches by 1 1/4. And this, oh, I didn't trim that down, but this is also supposed to be 10 inches by 1 inch. So this piece is actually a little bit less than 1 inch, but it was a scrap that I had, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to use it, even if it's a little bit of a bigger border. So you're just going to attach this DSP on top in the center. Okay, so just sort of line up one end, sort of centered as best you can, and then work your way down. Okay, so this, because I forgot to cut it, I will just snip off here. Okay, so that will make our belly band. So now what you want to do is you're going to want to wrap this around. Now you don't want to wrap it too tight, because then you're going to have some trouble getting it on and off. So what I do is I kind of start like this, sort of in the center, because we're going to put our tag over here, so you're not going to see this seam. So you're just going to gently kind of start wrapping this around, and then that should give us some wiggle room there. Okay, so you can stick that on top if you don't want to see that big piece on the bottom. So you could trim this a little bit less if you wanted. Maybe I forgot to trim this down. Maybe that's why it's so long. Oh, okay, it doesn't matter. If you use 10 inches, 11 inches, 12 inches, it's all good. Okay, so this, I am going to add some tear and tape on this side here, because this I do not want to come apart. So let's just put maybe two strips should do it, just to hold. I mean, your liquid glue would probably work as well. I am, as you know, partial to tear and tape. I love it. Okay, so let's try this. So around center, this is my longer one, so I'm going to put that underneath so it doesn't show, and then I'm going to attach this on top like that, and then it should slide. I might have done it a little bit too tight. Oh, there we go. It slides not too bad. You could do it a little bit looser. Just shimmy it with both. Okay, so let us do our little tag now. So for that, I did some pre-cutting too. So I'm using this die from the Hippo and Friends. So these are still current in our large catalog, and this is what they look like. So these dies are fabulous for nesting labels and things, and lots of different shapes. So if you don't get the stamp set, fine, but I would definitely recommend these dies. These are fantastic for greetings, and like I said, they all kind of nest into each other, which is really great. So I used this one here. And I'm going to stamp my greeting, which I took from the Celebration Set Special Moments. This is with a $120 purchase. You can get this for free until the end of February. So I took out the best wishes, but they have lots of other greetings in here for all kinds of occasions. So I am going to stamp that in my Misty Moonlight as well. Sure it's not upside down, and I'm going to try to put it just sort of, watch, excuse my head, just sort of here in the center, like so. Okay, so now we are going to attach our flowers and bees. So I just wanted to show you a little trick. Because on here, on the sample, can you see there's a bit of a shimmer to those flowers and bees? So that was made with our Wink of Stella glitter brush. So what I did, this one I stamped our bees. Now, I found that the basic black, the Memento, was a little bit too black, so I stamped these in our basic gray. And then I am going to use my Wink of Stella to color in the wings first, okay? So you would just gently, wherever you want, a bit of shimmer on their wings. If you find there's a lot coming out, you can just take a tissue or an scrap piece of paper and just kind of dab that off, because it does take a teeny bit to dry. But not that, you know, if it's just a thinner layer, it's pretty quick. Okay, so I'm just going to do the wings. Here. And they will be clear, because this is a clear, see this one had a little bit too much, but that'll dry, it'll be okay. And these ones have a little bit of a shimmer. So now I want to do the body. So a trick for that is you're going to take a clear block, and I'm going to take the pale papaya, and I'm just going to stamp my block in there to bring up some ink. And then you are going to just pick up this ink. Do this a little closer so you can see. You're just going to pick up the ink, and you're just going to color in the bee's body here, okay? And that will also, because you're using the, oops, there's a little bit too much there again. Must have squeezed it without thinking. Oh, okay, so this guy might be a little blobbed, but by using the Wink of Stella, when this dries, you are also going to have that shimmer in the bee on his body. So you can just pick up as much color as you want. And this would work with any color of our inks. Okay, and just let that dry. So you'll see that it's kind of wet right now, but it does have a shimmer to it. And then when you're done, you're just gonna, on a scrap piece of paper or whatever, you're just gonna kind of dab that off, kind of like you would your blender pens, just to get any color off. And then you can always squeeze a teeny bit more of that Wink of Stella to make sure it's running clear. Okay, so now for the flower, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn this around. I'm going to use the same flower image because I want that on the front here. So I'm going to just ink that up in the Misty Moonlight. And, oops, there goes my head again, sorry. I'm just going to stamp on the white. This is just basic white that I'm using. And again, I'm going to color this with my Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to turn this way because I'm right-handed and I don't want to get my hand in this wet piece. So I'll do this upside down. So again, you're just going to color in these flowers. Now, for some reason, with these inks and Wink of Stella, you can, I don't know if you can tell, I'll show you as I'm going, but it's kind of pulling some of that ink color with the brush, with the glitter brush. So you're actually getting kind of a blue shimmer to the flower. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of a blue compared to just the white, which is kind of cool. So if you were to do these, let's say, Blackberry Bliss or, another color, I'm guessing this would work with most of our colors, but you can certainly try it and see. If you have a favorite, you could just, try that and see. Maybe you'd get some really cool effects with those other colors of ink. Now what you could do too is just use a blend, what am I trying to say? Our blender pens, that's what I'm trying to say. Our blender pens, you could just color this in with ink like you normally would when using them, and then just add Wink of Stella after if that's easier. But this way you're kind of just getting a subtle bit of color from that ink that you've stamped. So if you can see that, see, our bees are starting to dry and they've got a shimmer to them as well. So just a cool little tip that I wanted to share with you, which is really fun. Okay, so we have our greetings. So I think what I'm going to do first is attach this to the belly band. Now, because this die is actually pretty well spaced here in the center, I'm just going to put some dimensionals right under this center piece. You don't want to put them here or here because they will stick to the inside of your card and you won't get your belly band off. So let me find my dimensionals. And which way? Okay, I want to go sideways this way. So I'll just put a couple here along the center of the larger ones. Okay, and then we can center that here, like so. And then I did pre-do some flowers. So you can see this one has the shimmer, and then I used the die that's in the dies to cut this out. And same with the bees. I had pre-done these, and I might be missing one. I don't know. I had some extras that I had done while I was doing them, so that's why I've got some extra bees. I think I'll only use probably 2 of them. If you wanted to use more, you could. So I think maybe I'll use these 2, and we'll put some mini dimensionals on the back of these. Whoops. And we will put some minis on the back of our flower. You could put a big one in the larger spot if you wanted. And then just add a couple of minis wherever else you like. So I love dimensionals too. I use them on probably every project that I do. I just love them. And like I said, the minis have been such a great addition to our supplies. They're just fabulous. You could almost use some a little bit tinier for other parts of images too, but that might get a little tricky putting them on if they're really, really tiny. Okay, let's try to get this on and finish off this card. All right, so we will put this, make sure your dimensionals now. Did I put one there? Okay, I probably shouldn't have put this top one on because it might get stuck. It might get stuck to the inside, which I don't want. So I just took that top one off. Good point. Make sure you're only putting dimensionals on the parts of the flower that are going to attach to your tag, right? Okay, and then the bees, let me see. We will put maybe this guy over here. And this guy, they are 3 different bees, so if you want to do all the same or 3 different, that's fine. And the last thing is, of course, a little more bling. So these are our new polished dots, which are really cool. And I thought for this card in particular, because these ones have kind of almost like a pale papaya shimmer to them. And that will bring out a little more of that papaya, I think, on the white. So you've got 2 different sizes here that you can use. So I'm just going to put 3 on. If you wanted to put more, you could. And there you go. Oh, you know what I did? Oh my goodness. I just noticed that. You probably noticed that too. I covered up my greeting with my flower. Huh. This flower is giving me all kinds of trouble, isn't it? Let's just move this over a bit. I just have to get this one off. Okay, let's just move this over. Okay, my goodness. I wasn't paying attention. There we go. Now you can see it. Okay, see? Shows you can still fix things even after the fact. And there is your card. So you would take this off, open your flaps, open your flap, and there you go. If you did want to use something different and do some other greetings or messages or stamping, you could certainly do that. But for this one with the bees, I thought, you know, I'm just gonna try it like that and see how it goes. And I love how that turned out. And I love how all colors kind of go together. The Cinnamon Cider and Misty Moonlight is really, really neat. Now, just a tip too, the Cinnamon Cider, Misty Moonlight, that whole In Color family from 2 years ago is going to disappear as of the end of, well, when our new catalog goes into effect. So if you do want to stock up on any of these colors, you may want to start doing it now before their mad rush is on, and then you won't be able to get them anymore, because eventually once they're sold out, and you're not going to ever get them again. So if there's something you really love in that particular color family from that year, which I can quickly tell you what those colors are here. So on page 123 of the large catalog, these the 2020 to 2022, these are the colors that are disappearing. So Cinnamon Cider, Just Jade, Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, and Misty Moonlight. So you can still get cardstock, ink refills, and blends in these colors. You can't get blends in the Bumblebee, but you can check the catalog here, and if there's anything you want to stock up on, oh my gosh, my tongue's not working today. If there's anything you want to stock up on, start now, because then you'll have everything that you need before they retire for good. So just a little tip again. And if you are interested, this particular bundle this Honeybee sells for $61. So that is the stamp set and the dies. So this stamp set and these, these dies here. This is the bundle, sells for $61, so you would get yourself one free celebration item if you decided to purchase that. So I have a host code for January, TZYVRSN7, and you're welcome to use that at checkout on my website at christineludwig.stampinup.net. And you're also welcome to follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, and my new YouTube channel, all known as Christine's Stamping Spot. And I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're there. It's free and you'll have access to a lot of videos as well. So I hope you enjoyed that project and our bumblebees, and we will see you again next time. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.